We can stop it.
Sure.
Okay.
I can start. So, good morning, everybody. Today I'm supposed to talk about landscape evolution and the chronostratigraphic correlation of cave entrance depositional environment and palaeosol of Gran Dolina TD10. A very long title. For the people who don't know me, I don't know if you could know me. So my name is Lila Warnitz, and I have a bachelor degree in biology of the ecosystem, and I made a master in the quaternary in prehistory in Ferrara University and with the UAV University, and I spent all my second year of my master working with Josep Valverde and study the micromorphology of Gran Dolina. And in 2024, I win a scholarship to do a PhD on the geochemistry and the micromorphology of the combustion structure of Abricomanie in collaboration with the Laboratoire des Sciences du Climat et de l'Environnement in Saclay in France. Okay, so let's start. So Gran Dolina is a site who's belonging to the Sierra de Atapuerca near Burgos City in Spain, and it presents a stratigraphy of 19 meters thick from the early to the late Pleistocene. And the unit study here, TD10, represents the middle Pleistocene of Gran Dolina. So the previous sedimentary study made on this unit have placed TD10 inside the rockfall environment affected by Gili fraction or by debris flow deposits in function of the author. And we were thinking it was a bit surprising because during this period, we have a significant fluctuation of the climate, the quaternary climate, and the cave entrance context where Gran Dolina TD10 come from are usually very complex environments who involve a lot of different sedimentary process, mode of deposit and post-depositional, as well as the rockfall that the previous author have placed TD10 are integrated in colluvial model, who usually are also very, very complex. So we wanted to investigate the geological diversity record of TD10. And so we have chosen to do that. Sorry. And the idea it was to develop a very detailed stratigraphy of TD10, and it's about that I will talk today in this presentation. So to investigate this microstratigraphy investigation, we have chosen to do it inside the stratified slope deposit model, which is kind of an evolution of a talus tree. When you have rockfall, you have a geomorphology, which is called like a talus tree. And with time and different sedimentary process involved, it evolves is what we call a stratified slope deposit. And the model we have chosen to study TD10 units. So for that, we have decided to build the microstratigraphy, a soil stratigraphy, and re-examine the field stratigraphy in this order because we wanted to use the microsedimentary structure and the micromorphology feature as a guideline to interpret the macro feature present in TD10, which can be complicated to interpret directly because of the age and the compaction and the carbonatation, that present this unit. And today I will focus only on the construction of the microstratigraphy and the sedimentary petrography that we use to do it. So I will speak a lot about the sedimentary structure. So just for everybody to know, I give quickly the definition. It's like a three-dimensional feature produced by the deposition of sediments. And it's basically the stratification. And in function of like the thickness of the stratification, we speak about bed or lamina. If like you can see in the slide, you have a difference, like if you have 1 to more than 100 centimeters, we speak about bed. And if it's less, we speak about lamina. And so I will use those terms to describe the microfasciate, bed set, coarse lamina, medium bed set. So I'm referring to the size of the stratification. Inside the sediment structure, you find also the interstratification, which can be like rhythmic inverse. I mean, you have a repetition of inverse gradient inside the stratification. Can be also disorganized. I mean, the stratification is not clear or a bit crudely, or you can be massive, like no visible stratification, or microstratified, like a lot of little stratification. If it's not clear, please tell me. We use also the sedimentary texture to describe all the microfascias. So it's like the grain size, the grain morphology, and the grain surface of the sediment fabric. So basically is like saying like if a part of the stratification is more dominated by gravel, mud, or sand, and we can use them like gravelly moods. I mean, there are presence of gravel and mood with the mood dominance, or moody gravel is the inverse. The gravel are dominant, but we have still presence of mood. And so that's what represents the little triangle, like in function of how percentage the gravel or the mood is, we use those terms. And we use also the supports, like here we have different type of supports. Here we have like the gravel with dominant with the presence of matrix, so we speak about class supported. When we have like more equal parts, we speak about various supports, like class to mod support. And when the mod is dominant, we speak about matrix supported. With that, we use them to describe the class or the boulder present. If they are more or less the same size in all the deposits, we speak about like unimodal. If there are two sides, bimodal. Diamictic is when you have a lot of different size involved in the gravel. And I speak also a lot about the current flow tip because it's what I try to characterize in TD10. So this is a complicated part even for me. So basically, you have limited process involved in mass movements who fluctuate in function of the solid fraction or the liquid fraction. When the solid fraction is dominant and the fluid involved is air or very little of water, we speak more about mass movements. But when it's inverse, when it's a water fraction with like dominance and the solid fraction is minimal, we speak about water flow. And between the two extremes, there are a lot of processes involved that I will use today to characterize TD10 sedimentary process. And so I will try to define them for you if you want. So the workfall is basically, as the name says, just work falling. It's a lot of movement, a lot of mass, and the fluid involved is air, and everything moves at one mass. When the water comes and increase a bit, we speak about like debris flow. Is how can I say that clearly? It's when both the water and the sediments will move in once in like a semi-plastic body. Here, when you have tip of deposit with less sediments, so between 20 or 45%, but present feature of both mass movement and water flow. We speak about hyperconcentrates. It means there are like enough sediments to not be water flow, but the deposit don't move at once. You have the fraction of water and solid inside who are different, so you have turbulence movements. And when the water is dominant and like the sediments is really distant from the water, we speak about, like, as I say, the stream flow. It's like overland or social of this kind of deposit. With that, you can have like test slide. It's more in the mass movement, but it's when there are slide plants. So it's like a big mass of sediment to move because they're like a slide. And you have the solid friction, which is the slow periglacial soil movements, and is it due of the frost action, because in periglacial environment you have like cycle of freeze and thaw, and this movement of the ice to grow and melt will create like upturn movements who will lift the sediments, and when it thaw it creates like how can I say a loss of mass, like create like a destabilization. We can put everything in movement. So the solid friction deposits are really associated to like periglacial and frost environments. So the materials that we use are coming from two sections of Gran Dolina, the north and the east section, and we have selected two columns, like the N12 and the N16-17 in the north section for here, and the K22 section in the column, in the east section. And we have collected 27 monolith samples from these three columns, and we have transformed them in 41 tin sections here in the geoarchaeology lab of IPHES. Before speaking about the microstratigraphy, I will make a quick revision of the stratigraphy because I will use this subdivision a lot. So normally, TD10 is required with 4 archaeostratigraphical units. So from the top to the bottom, you have TD10-1, TD10-2, TD10-3, TD10-4. Oh, sorry, here. Associated to 2 bond bed cells. One who divides TD10-1 and TD10-2 here, we call TD10-1 bond bed set. And another one who divides TD10-2 and TD10-3 here, so who is called TD10-2 bond bed set. So they are here. And us, when we were studying the field stratigraphy, we have used the sedimentary structure and so the sedimentary texture, and we have defined 3 lithostratigraphical units. From the top to the bottom, also TD10-1, A, here, who is mostly characterized by the presence of unimodal gravel, thin gravel, with the presence of outside coarse gravel and field border. In TD10-B, just below, you have the presence, as you can see on the picture, of dialectic gravel. So this unit presents a lot of different sites in the gravel, the border. And to finish, we have the last unit, TD10-C, which characterized by the presence of unimodal boulders stratified with mud, big boulder and mud. And with this new subdivision, the presence of the bond beds changed, because now we have the first bond bed who is inside TD10A and the second inside TD10B. And of course, we have like big discontinuity at the top between TD10 and 11, at the bottom between TD10C and 9, and also between TD10A and B. Associated to that, we have also realized a Bayesian statistical analysis on the previous published dates of TD10 coming from these 3 authors, Berger, Perger, and Moreno. And we have correlated those Bayesian data with the marine isotopic stage to give us like a chronology guideline of TD10. And so this is the 6 geochronics units that we have obtained. And basically what you have to remember is like, here you have TD10A, here TD10B, here TD10C, and like TD10C is more associated with MIS 12, TD10B more with MIS 11, and TD10 10 most with MIS 9. This is more or less the correlation with the marine isotopic shapes. So now we pass to the microfascias. So I will not enter so much in the description of the microfascias because they're like very heavy, a lot of technical terms. I don't think it's so interesting for you. But the first microfascias that we have defined can be described as a rhythmic coarse lamina to thin bed of inverse gravity mood gravel to gravel. So that means in this microfascias, you have a repetition of thin beds in the stratification with the presence of inverse gradients. You don't see so much with projection, but an inverse gradient just means like you have the thin material at the bottom and the most coarse one at the top. And very here you see you have the mud, and after you have the coarse material at the bottom. Can be an inverse gradient. And this is repeating all over in the microfascias 1. And you have presence of mud and gravel, moody gravel to gravel. That's it. And so this type of microfascias have been interpreted as resulting of grain flow deposits. The grain flow is what I say to you, a mass movement who present more solid phase and not so much water involved. It's like a cohesionless movement. That means like all the particles are separate and like they shock when they move, and that's why you have the presence of the inverse gradient because of that. And associated to the grain flow, the fact that we have a variable support, like we pass from gravel to moody gravel, like here, for example, we have more than here, more gravel, is associated to disturbance of the grain flow deposit made by other process that we have identified as overland or creep. So the overland is like when you have a lot of water because of rain or whatever, and the water cannot enter the soil, it runs off at the surface and it takes the sediment with them. And the creeping is another type of movement. It's also associated with frost, but it's like superficial frost creeping. It's the same, like you have ice grow and melt, and so you have this up-down movement. You can move a bit the sediment, but this is very superficial, and comparing to the grain flow deposits or even the overland, the movement of the mass is very little. And here we have a picture of like a more recent grain flow type deposit. Gran Dolina is very old, so we cannot see as clear as movement. That's why it's grain flow deposits normally. The microfascias 2 is very similar to the microfascias 1. It presents a crudely stratification planet in bed of disorganized moody gravel. So that means stratification is less clear than the microfascias 1, but except for that, is really similar to the microfascias 1. So we have interpreted that as a more disturbed grain flow deposit, like basically just an evolution of the microfascias 1, more perturbed by other process. And as we have like, how can I say? A very disorganization and the presence of mud more important, we think that what disturbs this deposit is what we call the hyperconcentration and overland. So the hyperconcentration, I think I say when I explain the currents, it's when you have enough sediments and enough water to have feature of both mass movements or water flow. And it can bring like sand or gravel, can bring a lot. So here, let's see, it's a recent hyperconcentrate deposit. So you see you have the presence of gravel and mud, and not all together because they are in two different factions. So gravel you deposit first, and after you have the mud. And this is a picture of all along. You can see like the water don't enter the soil, and so purple, not purple, sorry, runoff at the surface. Basically, it's here. Yeah, because what is not funny with sedimentary process is like you don't have one deposit, one type of process. You can have like a cursus, and at one part of the deposit, maybe you will have more water, so it will be more turbulent, and it will be like a debris flow. But at the end of the deposit, you will find an hyperconcentrate. So that's why you have like continuity. So the microphase 3, it's a diametric median bed of disorganized muddy gravel. And basically, it has been associated with a solid friction deposit because it corresponds more or less to the definition of other author made of solid friction. For example, Bertrand and Texier have described the solid friction as a deposit crudely stratiphase diamicton. So it's basically what we have here. We have also like proof of frost action. Tissue were due to frost action, and as we have this site diamictic, we think it's the active layer of the frozen sediment. Like here you have a schema of solid friction lob that in movement, and so the active layer is the upper part of the deposit. Here you have like the old permafrost. The movement of sediment is here, and below it's the new form permafrost, and up is where the movement will be the more important. And as the features are not so strong, we think we are in the proximal parts where the movement is less important compared to the distal part where you have more fissure and more up-down movement and lift of the sediments. You can see the sediments, they are like a bit, like up down. It's because of the frost action that I explained you earlier. The microfacies 4 is also associated to solid friction deposits, but comparing to the microfacies 3, it don't present this geometric aspect and this gravel aspect. It describes a geometric median bed of massive mud, so it's like with more mud. But which is very interesting is this one is like you can see clearly what we call flat microstructure. It's you see here the shape of the broad mass is like I don't know if it's called in English. Sorry. When you have like a lentil, it has this shape, and this is typical of deep freezing action, which is always associated with solid friction deposits. But we have also like sometimes here, for example, the broad mass will take like a granular shape, and this with frost action usually it's associated to more like shallow freezing. So here we think we have like a variation between shallow and deep freezing. And below you can see what is a modern solid friction deposit. You can see the blob here, and in the active part you see it's more like diamictic here. This one is not my favorite. The microfacies 5, so it's a diamictic thin bed of disorganized gravelly mud. So the disorganized aspect of this microfacies make us think it's facies made from free fall of granular. But he have a lot of process involved. Basically, this one can be interpreted as a sedimentary gravity flow. That means it's kind of a bit of surprise. You can find a lot of different sedimentary process involved. You have the free fall, but you have also a lot of proof of water action. And in some aspects, you can find hyperconcentrate feature, debris flow feature. Like it depends on where you are. For example, here you have more gravel, it's probably resulting from a hyperconcentration deposit. But when you have just 1 or 2 layers of gravel, it's more linked to fluvial flow or when wash overland. I don't know if it's very clear. When wash. And so here's always an example. This is like a very recently formed deposit. And here you can see it's like a debris flow deposit. You can see also here and here. So yeah, everything is fine for now. And the last microfacies found is mud stratification in thin massive bed and thin lamina set. For simplicity reasons, we have just put all in one microfacies, but in reality, we could have created a lot of sub-microfacies because it prevents a lot of microstratification. Like you can see here, here, and here, all of that is microstratified. This microfacies is characterized by the presence of what we call a ripple class. So a ripple class is like a part of a previous deposit who's been teared off and integrated in the new deposit. So this means we are in erosive environment, erosive deposit, and not in sedimentary like accumulation. And as we have so also the presence of lamination and a lot of mud, we know like these microfacies have been formed by fluctuation between high flow, who are able to tear off some part of the microfacies below, and more low density flow who allow the decantation of the mud, for example. So when we place all these microfacies in the stratigraphy of TD10, we can see like TD10 here, we go from below to the top. Okay. The microfacies 6 is only found in TD10C, and it's a bit tricky because like as it's an erosive deposit, you cannot see it all the section of TD10, but it's supposed to be below. In TD10B, so here, you have the presence of the microfacies 3, 4, and 5. But what is super interesting is like the microfacies 5 is only present in the east section. So here. Yeah, I should have precise here. N12 and N16, so it's the north section, and K22 in the east section. I position them like that to see more the continuity of the lithostratigraphical unit. And so you can see in green the microfacies 5, and it's only present in the east section. While the microfacies 3 is only present in the north section, and we can find the microfacies 4 in both sections, the red one. It's here, very below in the east section, and is in alternance with the microfacies 3 in blue in the north section. And in the top, TDA is mostly composed of the microfacies 1 and 2. So in yellow, the microfacies 1, and in purple is the microfacies 2, with the exception again of the of the east section, which have a tiny parts in TDA of the microfacies 5, and this corresponds to the first bond bed set. Okay. When we pass, we leave the microstratigraphy and we pass at the field level. This is for the section of TD10. Here you have the north section, and here the east section. We have distinguished 3 types of geometry. We have what we call wedge geometry, here in green or in blue. Lunar geometry, which is here in the center part, and lenticular geometry, the yellow here, or the purple here. But we know, thanks to the analysis of the microfacies, that we have more than 3 sedimentary process involved, and that means the same geometry can be result of different process here. So below in TD10, we have like the lenticular geometry with the thin boulder stratified with the mud. This is due correlate with the early cave entrance erosions and is more linked to the previous unit dynamic. It's like more compared to the top. It's probably the continuity of the unit below, like TD10-9, TD10-8. But at the top, the dynamic changed a lot. Here, you have the deposit here. The wedge didn't have been so much sample. We don't have a lot of samples, so we didn't really statuate of which process are involved in this particular wedge. But here in the central part of the Toulonnat, like in the orange color, and the 2 wedge light blue, it's the microfacies 3 and 4. So we know this part is due to the solid friction. And when it's super interesting is like this one is more linked to the microfacies 5. So in terms of sedimentary process, we have juxtaposition of 2 very different sedimentary process, because we have in the north solid friction, so linked to frost environment, and in the east grain flow, overland debris flow, who are more associated to more warm climate. And we have also like a big difference. It's like here, it's like 2 wedge, and here just 1 big one. Very interesting. And at the top, we have associated to also deposits the microfacies 1 and 2, with the exception of the bed, first-born beds, somewhere here, to the grain flow deposit. So all this geometry are associated to the grain flow deposit. And as we have like 3 types of geometry, we can retrace also the entrance points of the sediments. Like, so not in TDC because it's not an entrance point, it's an erosion, but between TD10, between TD10D, we see first we have just 1 wedge in the north and lunate and 1 lenticular deposit. That means we have only 2 entrance points of sediments, 1 in the north to create those deposits and 1 in center part to create the lunate, and none in the east section, as we don't see like this deposit. And below we can see 3 like 2 wedge and 1 lunate. That means we have 3 entrance points, 1 in the north, 1 in the center, and 1 in the east. And when we pass in the first part of TDA, like the more old part of TDA, we can see like this huge wedge go until here, and another one here. So that means we pass again to 2 entrance points, 1 in the north, 1 in the east, or then the accumulation of sediments in the north was so important that like the enter of the central pass was like not visible. It was like catched by all the sediment coming from the north points. And until the top of TD10, we can see like all the 3 types of geometry. So we know like we have the three entrance points, like in the north, in the center, and in the east. And so we can see like kind of a cyclicity, a rhythmicity in the deposit. So, sorry. So this was an example of how different geometry can be created by different process. I use like the lenticular shape to determine that. They are present in all the 3 units, but in very few quantity because there was few, or because it was very complicated to to sample. But in TD8, the lenticular shape has been created by sedimentary infilling, so causing by grain flow, while in TD10B, it's the solid friction based on the stone bucket model, and in TD10C is an open rock debris flow modified by overload. It means like it had filled with like a debris flow, this lenticular shape, and after there was an overload who come and cover, and that's why we have this classification. Yeah. So the alternance of these different geometry shapes give us like different sequence in TD10. So as I say, like we have the first sequence who come from TD10C. It's an early cave erosion and is linked to the unit below. But from T2 to T6, it's a cyclicity order based, like it's a cyclicity based on the order of the deposit. You have a wedge, a lunate covered by in lenticular, and it's repeat until the end of TD10C. Except here, between TD10 and 4, where this cyclicity don't appear, because you have the big, like here in very thick, you have the big score, and at the top also you have the big score. We say like, which means like this cyclicity was probably like great, but had been eroded at these 2 points. And so from S2 to S6, this sedimentary cycle is probably associated with the retreat of the wall of Gran Dolina cave entrance. So this is a correlation of marine isotopic stage with all the models that we have made. And when we do that, like first, you can see the difference between our model and the archaeostratigraphical units, especially around the second tree. But what is more interesting is when we look at the correlation in TD10B. TD10B, we know is mostly due to solidification, so frost environments. But when we correlate with our Bayesian data, it like fell in Miss 11, which is like not frost environments, which don't seem very logical. So we think we have a problem with our Bayesian model and our correlation. And it could be super interesting to use other proxy to see how we can create a new model to correlate with the marine isotopic stage. And in our idea, we want to use the palaeosol and the micromorphology to do a paleoenvironmental reconstruction to make a new correlation with the marine isotopic stage to solve this major problem. And so this microstratigraphical study is interesting because it highlights the fact that we need to reaffine and calibrate the archaeostratigraphical unit and the depositional, sedimentary, depositional, and paleoenvironment proxy to have like more precise data on the remain we can find in the stack. So in conclusion, TD10 is not just a talus scree deposit or rockfall environment as it was previously implied in older study, but is fairly in the stratified slope model, and it records numerous of sedimentary process involved that we have associated to 6 different microclasses. And thanks to that, we have been able to like reconstruct the morphological change of the cave entrance through the sedimentary point entrance inside TD10. Thank you. You are